Let me speak to you about the dilemma that faces most Muslims, especially those who are thinking and are serious about the ideology and the philosophy of life that they would like to subject themselves to. Let me expand on the dilemma that's facing you and me. And I'm not talking to the blind followers, to the sheep, to the cattle, as the Quran refers to them. Those cattle that are being herded by the herdsman. I'm speaking to you as a thinking person, as a person with agency, as a person that wants to direct themselves in the direction that they feel is best. You see, we don't have a lot of complicated options today. You have two basic options. Option number one is to go back to the way things were, is to assume that what you have been taught from the time that you were a child in your home and in your Muslim school or madrasa and in your mosque on a Friday and at any other time when your priest or your spiritual leader spoke to you, is to make the assumption that that is the ultimate and absolute understanding and outlook on Islam, and that is the philosophy that you intend to assume and to walk with until the end of your time. Now that could be your first option. Now let me just tell you, there's a word of warning. There are already people that have chosen that option. In fact, there's a name for that option. The name for that option is the Salafi option. It is to go back to the old ways, to the priests of old, to the scholars of old, to the explainers of the religion, and to the founders of the religion of old. And I want you to, if you do take that option, I want you to make sure and to ensure that you have in fact ascertained that the product that you sit with, the Islam you are sitting with in your hands, the way that you've been taught in school and by your parents, etc., that it is indeed an authentic and original and faithful version of the outlook and the worldview that the Prophet, and not only the Prophet, but also those prophets before him, Ibrahim, that they came with. My position, unfortunately, is that I could not establish that fact. And the videos that I have on my channel are all testimony to that. I do believe that the elite, that powerful people have employed learned men and influential men and writers and scholars to shape the Islam that we have today in our possession according to their needs and not according to the needs of the people. And I'm one of those that have broken with that Salaf. Now let me just show you something, because it's important that you realize what you are letting yourselves into. You know, if I tell you that Islam of the Salaf is an easy and simple, if you have assumed that is an easy and simple Islam, then I'd like to alert you to the opposite. Let me show you the Maktabu Ash-Shamila, which is a summary of all the books of the Salaf, most of the books of the Salaf. This compilation of books speaks about the laws of your religion. 207 books available for you. And these books are not books that were written in our times. Most of these books are written 1,000 years ago and more. So let me look at some of them. Fiqh al-Maliki, for example. And those are all the ancient and traditional books on Maliki fiqh. If you think you understand your Quran, let me warn you that your Quran is not simple to understand. Your Quran is in spread, the meaning of your Quran is spread in 171 books of tafsir. Each of those books are not a single volume, but are multiple volumes. 171 books on the meaning of your sacred book. And the same goes for hadith. If you think you have an idea of what hadith is, there are hundreds of books of hadith. Let us see how many books of hadith there are. Ulumul Hadith, 189, Mutun al Hadith, 189 books there. So if you think you are dealing with a religion that you will ever be able to master, then you've got a massive surprise coming. This Islam of the Salaf is an Islam that is heavily interpreted and heavily influenced by the powers that had control over the thinking of the Muslims. If you come today and you are honest with yourself, you have to ask yourself, who are the powerful people that control the message of Islam? You will not be able to argue with me that those people are the people who run the schools in Medina, the schools in Egypt, the schools in Pakistan or India. You must agree with me, those are the people that are shaping the message of Islam that is coming through to all the millions of Muslims. Now let me take the biggest one, which is the schools in Medina and Riyadh and Saudi Arabia in general. We know who are the controllers of that society, who are the decision makers in that society. And we know that the teachers and the clergy and the scholars, who they account to. And we know where their loyalties lie. And if you still believe that that is the Islam that you trust and have faith in, then I pray for you. But there is another option. You see, there's option B. And option B is although option A might be like an old pair of shoes, you might feel comfortable with that old pair of shoes. Option B is like a new pair of shoes. And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be scary. And that is the option where we take that which we were gifted by the Creator. That one book with 6,200 verses only, written or revealed in simple Arabic, with a dictionary, with a set of vocabulary that any man or woman can access with a dictionary, and with some basic skills of the Arabic language, and for which there exists more than 20 or 30 translations. The Islam of option B is an Islam of returning to the pristine parameters and paradigm of the Quran, not of the 10,000 books written by the people of the year 150, but of people who are applying their minds these days, sincere people, honest people that are looking at the book, at the message, at the parameters, and reinterpreting that for our times. Yes, it is going to be difficult to make the change, but I call on you to at least think about it. My channel is but one. There are many other people who are sincerely approaching the Quran, who are rereading the text with the intention of submitting to the text and not submitting to the interpretations of the text. Because the interpretation of the text is not the text. We should allow ourselves to reread our sacred central text, which is the Quran, and to apply our minds, to apply all the knowledge, all the experience, all the collaboration that we can attain, and to arrive at an application, at an implementation of the message that is relevant and that is useful and that provides solutions to our times. But if you want to go back to the 10,000 hadith books and tafsir books, you go ahead. We are here to serve God, to approach His message, His sacred text, with sincerity, with honesty, and to find guidance in there. And I hope you will join us on this channel as we proceed with that. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.